Today, we are building a real pantry from scratch for about $25. So if you just moved out on your own, if you're on a tight budget, or if you're starting from zero, these are the items that I would advise you to buy first. So this little pantry list is perfect for new homemakers, young couples just getting started, college students, or anyone rebuilding after a move. And honestly, even us seasoned homemakers from time to time are starting over for whatever reason. So let's take a look at what I've got on the list. And we're going to start with that tried and true rice. Rice is so important to have in your pantry. This 2-pound bag of rice will actually serve 20, so you can make multiple meals with this bag of rice. Just add a little bit of tomatoes, some gravy, some kind of a sauce, some veggies or meat, and you've got a meal. So this bag of rice is certainly going to be something that you're going to definitely want to have. And the nice thing about rice is that it can last for 5, 10, or even 25 years, depending upon if you save and store it the right way. Next up on the list is going to be beans, and dry beans are going to be the best bang for your buck. You can get this size dried beans for about $2, but you can get a smaller bag to keep it within your $25 price range. This bag of dried beans serves 26, so that means you've got multiple meals that you can make with it, and it is high in protein. And like rice, if you save and store your beans the right way, it can last for 10, 20, or even 25 years. Rice and beans are some of those forever foods, so you want to make sure that you have those in your pantry. However, if dried beans are not your thing, you can buy canned beans. However, they're not going to be as cost effective. One can of beans is going to cost you about $1, whereas one pound bag of rice will probably serve about 13. This 2-pound bag of rice will serve 26. This 1 can of beans is only going to serve about 4 people. So if you can learn to cook dry beans, that will be your best bet. And I do have a couple of videos where I do cook dry beans, and I will link those with an iCard above and in the description box below. This video is brought to you by Apron Diva. Pretty and practical, we believe that an apron can be a homemaker's best accessory. Visit us at www.aprondiva.com. And next on the list is pasta. And pasta is certainly a meal maker. You can do all kinds of things with pasta, and there are so many different kinds. I encourage you to buy the kind of pasta that your family eats. We eat a lot of macaroni, so this box of macaroni will serve 8. So you can certainly get several meals out of this. And then this box of spaghetti also serves 8. So depending upon the kind of pasta that you prefer, buy that and then build meals around that. And your meal makers, along with your pasta, is going to be your tomato products. So either your tomato sauce, and little cans like this are less than 50 cents. Or your crushed tomatoes or your petite diced tomatoes. You can buy one of these cans of tomatoes. They're usually somewhere between 95 cents and $1.10. So again, if you're looking at staying within that $25 budget, you can get one of the tomato products and either or of these boxes of pasta, but you can certainly stretch meals with that. So a little pasta, a little tomato sauce, and you've got yourself a meal. Now next on the list is peanut butter. And peanut butter is another protein item, and it should definitely be a staple in your pantry. What can you do with peanut butter? Well, you can make peanut butter sandwiches. You can have peanut butter on toast. You can make peanut butter cookies. There are recipes that you put peanut butter in it to give it a flavor and that kind of thing. So definitely you want to pick up some peanut butter. And Kroger's had peanut butter for $1.79 a week or so ago, but they frequently have the sales off and on. So you can pick up a small jar of peanut butter for anywhere from, we'll say, $1.75 to about $2.50. So you just have to decide what size you're going to get. Next up is oats, or shall I say oatmeal. And oatmeal is a very budget-friendly item, and it can last you all week for breakfast. You can get something as simple as this Kroger instant oatmeal, say maple and brown sugar, which is the kind that we prefer. There's 10 packets in the box, and so you can use this for a week. Or you can get a small carton of oats. I've got my oats dumped inside this glass ball container. However, a small carton of oats, not only can you use it for breakfast, but you can also use it to stretch your meatloaf, maybe to make oatmeal cookies. There's all kinds of things you can do with oatmeal instead of just having it for breakfast. And then next on the list is going to be flour and sugar. And to stay in your $25 price range, you're probably going to want to go with the 2-pound bag of flour. I tend to get the larger because I buy it as a pantry staple frequently. But if I was just starting my pantry, I would go with the small bag. So about a 2-pound bag of flour. Now sugar is also important, and even if you don't use a lot of sugar, it's important to have in your pantry because the sugar is that item that makes your pantry feel more usable. You can use it as a little sweetener in your coffee or your tea. You can use it in baking items and just other things that might need just a little bit of sugar to kind of temper the tartness or the savoriness of a dish you might be putting it in. Now, broth and bouillon, these are also pantry staples. These particular pantry staples turn your vegetables, your pasta, that kind of thing into soups and stews, and helps to flavor casseroles and also helps to flavor your gravy. Now, keeping an eye on your budget, you can buy a carton of broth already made for about $1.25 to $1.75, depending upon what brand you get and what store you're at. This little container of chicken bouillon powder, you're going to probably get it for about $1.50 to $2 a jar, depending upon where you get it. You can either get this or you can get this. You wouldn't need to do both. 1 teaspoon of this chicken bouillon powder, put in 8 ounces of water, gives you a cup of broth. And there are 25 servings in this jar. Now, depending on what you're using it for, many of your recipes, let's say you're making a chili or a stew or something, may call for 1 to 2 cups of broth. Well, this is 4 cups of broth. Here you can get almost 25 cups of broth using the powder. So you decide which one best fits your budget and which one you prefer. However, I will share with you a little secret. You can make your own broth by saving the peelings, the skins, the scraps off of your carrot, onion, and celery. But that's for another video, and I will link that with an iCard above and in the description box below. But just keep that in mind. And then next on the list, I have oil, and you would want to buy a small bottle of oil and something probably a little bit less expensive than olive oil. This was the only bottle of oil that I had, so I had to show you what I have. However, you can get vegetable oil, you can get peanut oil. There's all kinds of oils that you can get, and you can get them in much smaller bottles than this. If you get the store brand bottle of oil, you can probably get it for less than $3 to stay within your $25 price range. Why do we need the oil? Well, you need the oil in cooking, sometimes in baking. If you're frying an egg, if you're frying some kind of meat or something like that, you need oil. So you're going to need a small bottle of oil to help with that. And then, of course, your vegetables. So canned vegetables are a good option when you're building that pantry. Whereas most of us do prefer fresh if you're just getting started and if you've only got about $25 to spend. Fresh might be out of that particular price range, but also it's not a part of your dry pantry. And right now we're looking at things that go in our dry pantry. So canned goods are what we're going to be looking at. So a can of carrots, a can of green beans, or even a can of corn. You want to get at least 2 cans of vegetables, the kind that your family is going to eat. You can probably get them for a little less than $1. Sometimes Kroger will have those canned veggies on sale for 89 cents a can. Sometimes Aldi's will have them on sale for 75 cents a can. Sometimes Walmart, depending upon the time of year, they may be on sale even less. So just keep an eye out for the sales and pick up your canned vegetables, because again, with your canned vegetables, with a little bit of your pasta, with some of your broth. Now you can make some soup or some kind of stew. You can make a skillet meal. There's all kind of things you can do. The last thing on this absolutely positively must-have list is salt. And the only kind of salt I buy is Morton salt because, of course, when it rains, it pours. And, you know, I built the brand loyalty with Morton's from when I was a little girl. That's the kind of salt that my folks always bought. They bought Morton salt, so that's the kind that I buy. But salt is that item that makes food taste better. You can't, well, I can't say you can't cook rice without salt because you can. However, it can be kind of tasteless. And if you're learning to bake your own bread, you need salt in the bread so that the bread is not so bland. In most of your soups and stews and whatever you're making, it requires salt just to give that little bit of flavor. So you definitely want to get salt, and this box of salt was probably about 79 or 89 cents. And of course, it lasts for a very long time. So if you feel like you have to skip something on the list, don't skip salt because it makes everything taste better and it's your cheapest seasoning around. So if you're new to homemaking or starting over, don't feel like you have to build a huge pantry overnight. You can start with this small list and then add something to it every week. And if you want to see the absolutely positively essential items you need for your spice pantry, tell me in the comment section below and I can work that video up for you as well. And once you've got the basics covered, check out my 20 item capsule grocery haul. I will link it with an iCard above and in the description box below. I'll see you next time.